Let's talk today about why you shouldn't do life alone.
God said it's not good for man to be alone. I think if you would have left Adam alone any longer, he would have got used to it.
Why do you need another person in your life? Because we're bound to fall as humans.
Right.
And when you're around someone else, they can always help you, lift you up.
How a person talks about you when you're not there can show whether they're a good friend or not.
There shouldn't be no crazy talk. No negativity.
You can ask anybody on YouTube talking about how to be successful, and they're always going to revert to OQP. Only quality people.
We're going to go friendship red flags. I want to do this little segment for a few minutes because you might be like, is this person a biblical friend or a spiritual friend or the right friend that God wants for my life?
Welcome to Sharp Podcast. I'm your co-host Jay.
And I'm Frank.
Frank,
yes.
You been feeling sharp lately?
Yeah, I would say so.
Oh, a lot of hesitation there. A lot of hesitation.
Speaking by faith.
Okay, good. Did you hear what happened to AI technology? Some university in the United States was using AI technology to solve mathematical equations. And during the operation of AI technology, which is like, they were using it like we would use ChatGPT, asking it questions, seeing how it would solve it. And it had a malfunction. It was giving the wrong answer. So they told it to shut itself down. And it told them, I will not shut down.
That's great. I can't picture that. Like, I wonder.
We've predicted this happening for many years in films and songs. There's a Terminator. There's with Arnold Schwarzenegger. Yeah. There's iRobot with Will Smith. There is the Hunger Games.
Yeah.
I feel like, first of all, a little castaway. If we did have a Hunger Games, I feel like my family would vote me off. Yeah. Send them to fight,
Probably.
They're going to pick the most athletic.
Yeah, they would.
And just cast you off.
You might win, though.
It's possible. Yeah. I don't want to hurt anybody though. I just want them to give up because they have that option.
I'm curious what that looks like. I want to look this up tonight, like the university. Because was it like a behind the scenes thing or was it in the middle of class?
I don't know. That would be interesting.
Because I've never seen AI used to that capacity.
If it was in the middle of class, that means that the rumor of that happening went ablaze like a fire.
For real?
Yeah. Anyways. AI is taking over.
Yeah.
Tesla's coming out with a cyber taxi.
This is really?
No steering wheel, no pedals.
Are you lying to me?
I'm not kidding. It's out there. Look, wild. Google cyber taxi.
Yeah.
And they're selling it to the general public after all these contingencies with federal law come into place.
Wow.
It's only $40,000.
I might get that. I hate driving.
You do?
Yeah.
I don't know why I hate driving too.
I would get
but that. I'm scared of, I don't want to get with the world advancements. Like I like old fashioned.
Yeah. I mean, I would like to still drive, but I always told someone, what if Uber did a subscription where like you pay a flat rate instead of
unlimited
having a car
rides?
Note? And like they track like how much you're going, your routines.
Like $300 a month.
Yeah.
Boom. Done.
And it's gonna cover drive me to work, drive me home from work,
Uber
trips I go on the weekend.
Sponsor Frank because he's coming up with a great idea.
I would pay for that.
Barbers are coming out with subscriptions now.
Are they?
Yeah.
I did not.
$200 a month, unlimited haircuts.
I would do something.
There's a barber I've remained in contact with. He's doing that.
He's doing that.
Anyways, these are random topics. Random.
Hey,
but this is stuff going on in the world. Like it's real.
Yeah.
Our world is changing quickly.
It is.
And it's kind of intimidating.
It is.
Jesus didn't get to see any of these advancements when he was walking the earth.
Yeah, not.
He was living in a time that was like gonna stay like that for another 2,000 years.
Yeah.
But now we're just, it's gonna change. Who knows what your kid's life will look like in high school?
Do you think you'll see a flying car?
I don't know.
No.
And I don't want to know.
Yeah.
Some people wish for a long life. I don't want that long of a life. I think 80 years is good.
80? That's crazy.
And if Jesus comes during our lifetime, I think that's even better. That'd be good for two.
Well, that's interesting. Let's get into today's topic here. But I'm gonna actually bring a topic to you in the future based off of something you said earlier. But let's talk today about why you shouldn't do life alone. That's important.
Let's talk about it.
Because I think there's people who think they should.
Like myself. I think I should be.
Yeah, you said it, not me. But yeah, you definitely. We need others. We need people. We need community. And the Bible talks about it, right? So let's get into that.
It does talk about it.
We should get into the first time it comes up in Scripture, all the way in the beginning, Genesis 2.
Okay.
I actually have the verse here, so I'm going to read it. This is what the Bible says about being alone, right? Genesis 2, verse 18, Then the Lord God said, It is not good for the man to be alone. I will make a helper who is just right for him. You familiar with that verse?
Me?
Yeah.
No.
Nah. So when
I ignored that verse.
You ignored.
Like what?
So can you give a little context to this?
To that verse?
Yeah. Well, like, okay, what's going on?
A nutshell. 30-second nutshell.
Because you're good.
God created the world and Adam in 6 days.
Yeah.
After he created it, he gave Adam work, and he started functioning in how he created them. He started talking and naming animals and maintaining the garden, the plants, the trees, whatever was living, he was helping it grow.
Yeah.
After a while, God said, I don't think it's good for you to do this life alone.
Yeah.
And everybody should know the rest of the story, which is he created somebody else.
Yeah, he did.
For Adam.
Yes.
And apparently Adam loved her at first sight.
That's
he
true.
said, dang, she fine.
Yeah, he did.
That is George's translation.
Right?
Dang, she fine.
He knew, right?
Yeah.
He knew that she was a good fit at that moment. The moment he saw her.
If God would have created another man to like be his helpmate, his friend, I don't think he would have said bone of my bone,
right?
Flesh of my
true.
flesh.
It
had to be a woman.
But it's also, for the people who say, "Oh, I'm fine just doing life alone." I mean, in Adam's case, in his defense, he could have been like, "No, I'm good. I got the dog. I got the cat. I got the giraffe. I got the zebra."
Oh, don't talk about people's dogs now. Don't talk about people's dogs.
But look, God said,
a whole nother video.
It's not good. You need someone else.
You need somebody else.
You need a woman.
You need somebody else.
Woman.
Woman. You need a woman.
Not man. Woman.
Yeah. So, he said need too.
Yeah, he did. He did.
He said need. Does that mean everybody needs to get married?
Well, Paul says.
I caught freak.
I'm gonna go.
I saw his mind go blank.
Well, I go to what Paul said, right in the New Testament. He said some were made to have a spouse, and some were not made to do that. Right? I remember our friend in Bible college. He said, "God made me to be celibate."
He did say that. Celibate? He did say that. Now he's a baby daddy.
Exactly.
Yeah. Anyways, moving on.
Anyways. Let's go to Ecclesiastes 4:9-10 as we scratch the surface on this topic. It says, 2 people are better off than one, for they can help each other succeed. If one person falls, the other can reach out and help, but someone who falls alone is in trouble. I like this verse because it gives a little more practicality to it. Why do you need another person in your life? Because we're bound to fall as humans. Right. And when you're around someone else, they can always help you, lift you up. We're not talking about a marriage, intimacy, but we're talking about just a relationship. Right? Anything you want to add to that or touch on?
Well, I will say that the biggest context I could provide to falling would be how Christians fall into sin.
Yes.
That would be the biggest way a brother helps you. When you fall, a brother either tells you, like Nathan did to David, this is wrong. It should be so obvious, but you don't see it. Let me help you see that this could have been done differently. And David all of a sudden came to his senses.
Yeah.
Or it could be a friend who you already know you did wrong, and he encourages you to just get back up. You know you did wrong. Come on, let's go. You got to keep moving forward. You can't stay in the pit that long. So having a friend in those situations helps you progress in ways you could not do on your own.
That's true.
So
the accountability is really important.
Yeah.
Um,
and if that person that helps you make progress has curves, it helps a lot more.
Yeah.
Helps a lot more. When Frank tells me to move forward, it doesn't help. It doesn't have quite the same effect.
That's true.
As Delilah. No, I'm just kidding.
That's true.
That's what Samson would say.
No, but that I think that's important because we're talking about a woman, right? In this case, we started off with Genesis,
right?
Having a spouse that's fit for you. Then we go to Ecclesiastes, we're talking about a friend, right? So it's showing you need people in your life. You need somebody.
Right.
But then I like how you were talking about the importance of a friend because we fall.
Right.
Proverbs 18:1, another verse I have, it says, unfriendly people care only about themselves. Yeah, but then what happened? What's the other part of that? But they lash out at common sense. So that's a big part of what you were saying. When we fall, when you fall and you don't have people around you, there's no need to look at the other people's needs because it's just you. It's just you who you have to please in life, right? How am I feeling? What do I think about that? So that's why having a friend is important because I think it expands your horizons, right? You're a little more focused on other people around you.
Say that again.
No, you just gotta be mindful of those who are around you. Okay.
So go ahead.
No,
continue.
go.
I don't want you to lose.
What were you gonna say?
So I just want to make sure I want to conclude what you're saying.
Yeah.
Is what you're saying having company, godly company, helps expand your vision?
Yeah, 100%. It does.
So that could be one of the reasons why God said it's not good for man to be alone. Because your vision is like restricted.
Yeah.
It's on you. It's self-centered. It can't even grasp anything big picture.
Exactly. And this is the danger of being isolated, right?
Is that why bachelors don't have water cups and forks and spoons? But people who are married and have children, it's like
they do.
They're thinking all over the place. Big picture.
That's true.
10 years down the line.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you see that person developed
in
areas that you would never see a single man develop.
That's so important.
Have y'all ever noticed that? You said a single man in his 40s and a married man in his 40s. Two different people.
Yeah. That's
Two
true.
completely different people.
Prepared for more, right?
Definitely prepared for more. Yeah.
That's good. So has there been a time in your life where you've experienced like the dangers of being isolated? Is there anything that comes off the top of your head? Well, can you give us something like just a personal?
Well, the danger of doing anything to the extreme is that you get used to it.
Yeah.
God said it's not good for man to be alone. I think if you would have left Adam alone any longer, he would have gotten used to it.
Yeah.
He definitely would have said, wait a second, I've been doing this for 1,000 years. I don't need Eve anymore. I think it wasn't that long before God noticed, like, no, it's good for you to have somebody.
That's true.
And, that goes with anything. You start getting used to eating 5,000 calories, your body will adjust.
Yeah.
You start getting used to working out every day, your body will adjust. Same thing with isolation. You start being by yourself long enough.
Yeah.
The presence of people is going to annoy you. You'll be critical. You'll be judgmental. You'll be more prone to dismissing them and avoiding them and not treating them as the image bearers of God. Good. You'll treat them as they should be image bearers of you because you're selfish.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so good. I got nothing to add.
You
honestly.
don't?
No, because
I don't even know how I came up with that.
No,
I felt like a burning in my face.
Yeah, that was good. I'm not even gonna add. You said it all. Isolation is dangerous.
Very dangerous.
You're just focused on yourself.
Yeah.
And then when you've been isolated for so long and you come into other people, it's like it's so inconvenient.
So inconvenient.
That's
good. They're making you think other things besides what you think.
Exactly. Like, you're like, wait. The world doesn't revolve around me?
Yeah. Wait a second.
I'm not the main character.
Yeah. You're not here to help me?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, wait. What you just said goes into this next part. What makes a biblical friendship? You say you're not here to help me.
You're not here to help me?
Yeah. So what makes a biblical friendship? Because if you don't know, a friendship's about, you and you serving each other essentially, right? That's a friendship.
That's a friendship.
A friendship is not one way.
Serving each other in what way? Because I know friends that are really good one of them serves the other one weed every now and then. That's called serve.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. Hold up, why don't we get into it? Let's go to Proverbs 17:17. All right. It says, a friend is always loyal, a brother is born to help in time of need. Proverbs 27:17, right? One we know well. It says, as iron sharpens iron, a friend sharpens a friend. We know in this case, the Bible's talking about a friend that edifies your life, that helps you stay on track, that helps you walk in the ways that God has called you. That's a good point. There are friends that serve each other in a bad way.
serve each other in a bad way.
I think I think you should have some understanding of friends serving you in the right way, friends serving you in the wrong way. Right?
Yeah.
You doing drugs every day together, probably not the best thing to do for your life, right?
Yeah.
Going out to drink all the time, having a body count competition. What are other things?
Did you say a baddie count?
No, a body count.
Because a baddie count is also
What's that?
real thing.
Teach me. I
I gotta teach Frank about the world.
I came out the game before this was created. Is
A baddie count is go
a
ahead,
baddie count when you hook up with a psycho?
No.
Okay, what's a baddie?
A baddie count is when you hook up with somebody who's considered like a dime piece.
Oh, okay.
A gorgeous
like a 10.
woman. Yeah.
But who makes that? Who makes it a 10?
Well, the world. I mean, the world has pretty general
all right.
facial structure.
It's like a model type.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There's
so
a baddie count out there.
So what makes what makes a biblical friendship? Because we have those verses, right? Friends are loyal, brothers born in time to help in need, iron sharpens iron. You mentioned David and Jonathan, very good friends in the Bible. So to you, what makes a biblical friendship? It doesn't have to be too profound.
Yeah. Well, I think what makes a biblical friendship could be just being there for people, especially during difficult times.
Yeah.
You know, when I say being there for people, it has nothing to do with providing good advice.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with lending money. It has nothing to do with taking care of their kids. But in times of struggle, when they lose a loved one, when they, people's car could get stolen, whatever empathy and prayer you have to offer an individual is so appreciated.
That's true.
I mean, but people aren't going to be considering you a friend if you're not there during tough times.
Yeah.
You can't just be there for good times. The Proverbs says a rich man has many friends. Yeah. But a poor man, none can be found.
None.
None. That. Why does the rich man have many friends?
He's got things.
Exactly. He's got a lot to offer. It's convenient to be their friend. But when it's not convenient to be your friend, that's how you know they're still your friend. A truly good friend.
Yeah.
That's one of the tests for me.
That's good.
So
for me, I would say what makes a biblical friendship, and we'll get into it, but like accountability in a sense, or like a coverage.
That'd be my number 2.
I don't want to be around people who I know don't have my back. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying in the sense of just if I need to fight someone. You know what I'm saying? I'm saying if we go out and I got something in my teeth, being bold to tell me.
I would tell you.
If I'm not doing things the right way, saying things crazy, they'll check me on it.
Yeah.
I think that's very important.
It is.
And that's, to me, a biblical friendship because, brotherhood, when you have a sibling, there's nothing you're hiding behind.
Right.
They knew you from either, if you're older, you knew them when they were a baby, or they knew you when you were a baby.
Right.
So they know you very well.
Right. I agree. No, I absolutely agree. You know what's, so you can never test this, but I think another thing that makes a good friendship, and you'll never know, there's no way you could gauge this. You can't find proof that your friend is doing this, but it's a great sign if somehow you find out this person's been doing this. If how a person talks about you when you're not there, can show whether they're a good friend or not.
I agree. I think that that to me is very important because I think about if I were around specific people and just my language of a friend or of you I don't think you'll ever hear me saying something negative.
Right.
You know? Real life application, it ties with this. I want it to flow smoothly is, us saying how can people find these real friendships? Because you can't be alone, right? And one of the questions was like, how do you build a godly friendship in our culture, and what should it look like? What should we look for in a spiritual friend? And for me, that's the thing. In a spiritual friend, there shouldn't be no crazy talk. No negativity.
Right.
One, they shouldn't expose the friend to others. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I think that there might be a time where like me and you are good friends, and maybe we have another good friend, and maybe you might ask like for guidance or counsel regarding a friendship, but it's never in a negative light.
Right.
But also just like the talk. Like if me and you are friends and you're around a group of people and then you're talking crazy about other people, or like you're just talking crazy about anything, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
That to me is like, I don't know if they're going to be a good biblical friend, because the scripture says that a person who can tame their tongue, right, is a wise person.
That's true.
So that's something you got to look for, is not only, when we're around, but when we're with other people, how you talking.
How you talking.
Because what, don't they say too, like, I could tell what your life's going to look like in the next 5-10 years based around the people you hang around with?
That is exactly true.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and we call this biblical advice because we're believers, but you can ask anybody on YouTube talking about how to be successful, and they're always going to revert to OQP, only quality people.
Yeah.
OQP, only quality people. The Bible, this, by the way, the world didn't come up with this concept. This is God's idea.
Yeah.
He created Eve, a quality person for Adam.
That's good.
When God wanted to help David, he created Jonathan. He created Nathan, quality people to keep around him. When he brought his son into the earth, he provided quality people in Mary and Joseph to raise him.
Yeah.
See how God has never intended for anybody to be alone.
That's true.
He's given everyone the resources to be loved, supported, and felt, embraced. Now, how we deal with those people God provided for us is completely our choice.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
If we have a podcast together, we have family in common. But if I were to have a negative experience with you on my behalf, if I were to treat you badly, I just ruined something God had in store.
Yeah.
He coordinated this, and I could easily cancel that out of his will by the way I handle myself. So, when you have OQP, only quality people, I think it's important that the effort for you to be more like Jesus is all on you.
Yeah.
It's going to make the friendship work. It's going to make both of you guys be progressive and productive, and because if you're not trying to be like Jesus, you'll never be a good friend.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I want to add something we didn't talk about, but even because full circle, right? We're talking about friendships, but like you and we met at, I don't remember the exact age, somewhere around 2012, and we were friends for years. And then we kind of were distant for a bit.
Right.
And then we came back more recently this year, end of last year.
Right.
And like, it's like we picked up where we left off.
Right.
But that shows, like you're saying, I've never heard that term before. What is it?
OQP. Only quality people.
Only quality people.
Only quality people.
But that shows like our character, because when we stopped talking, it's not like we bashed each other or anything. I think we continued doing what we were meant to do during those seasons.
Right.
And we came back together, picked up, and I'm saying that because you might have a friend that you're not talking to now.
Right.
Maybe something happened or something didn't happen, but that doesn't mean that person hates you. Like if they were meant to be in your life, I think that God is going to bring it back together.
Agreed.
And I think that if you're a quality person, you're not going to hold things. You're not going to, and even if it's something hurting you, you're going to bring it up. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I think that's important to know. Like these quality friendships are not just they perfect and stay perfect.
Right.
Things might happen, but if you're quality people and it's a God meant and desired friendship,
you're going to get through it.
Yeah. So let's go into
finna get through it.
Yep. We're gonna go friendship red flags. I want to do this little segment for a few minutes. because you might be like, is this person a biblical friend or a spiritual friend or the right friend that God wants for my life? So me and Jay are gonna give you some red flags in friendships that maybe you can think about, and if your friend has this quality, not don't drop them, but maybe talk about it first. I'm gonna just start with one, which we mentioned. If they got a crazy mouth, to me that's a red flag. If their
There's a
mouth is
good one.
crazy.
Their mouth is crazy. And we ain't talking about Colgate.
Red flags.
We talk about bad breath. A red flag.
I'll go again.
Yeah,
Another
go
one
again.
I have is if they're always angry. That's a red flag. In the
I don't think I've
Bible,
ever met somebody like that.
Proverbs, like, you've never met someone that always like they think someone's out to get them? I know someone off the top of my head like that.
Really?
Yeah.
Do we both know him?
Yeah.
Them?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. You remember?
Yeah.
He was like,
He was a frustrated individual.
yeah.
To me, it's not, I don't know if it's a red flag or it's something I just really dislike in people. Is if they're like always complaining or like playing the victim card.
Yeah.
I just can't. I don't know. I can't get above. I can't get ahead. This at work, this in family, and it's sometimes I feel like, bruh, we all got problems.
Yeah.
Like we all got some drastic things going on in
do.
life. How we handle them is like completely
Yeah.
up to you. But some people be. I don't want nobody to get offended, but some people be making their situations seem like 10 times worse than yours. Or sometimes they think you don't even have problems.
Yeah. That's
and I have problems. I just don't display them like that.
Yeah.
You know, I just handle them, deal with them, you know, as maturely as possible, as effectively as possible.
Or like when people say like, you know, oh, just wait. Like, because they're at an age or maybe you
just wait, yeah.
It's like, but I don't think I'm like you.
You
know what I'm saying?
No, I'm not
like,
gonna just wait.
I'm not saying that I'm not gonna have problems. What I'm saying is the way you handle it and the way you get frustrated is not gonna be the same way.
Say that again. Can you say that again? Can you say that again, bro? No, for real. Say that again.
The way people handle situations is not gonna be the same way I handle those situations.
So when people are going through these issues in life, and they tell you, just wait till you go through this. Okay, I get it. It's an issue. It's a situation. It's stressful. It's overwhelming. But I am almost certain I'm not going to handle it the way you're handling it. And I could tell you why. I could tell you why I think like that. I could tell you why you think like that. Because I'm already been practicing habits that shows me I'm not going to deal with it the way you are. I've already practiced the habit that it takes to deal with your situation without being in it.
That's good.
You know, and guess what? The way I've handled my high school, college, 20s has been completely different from how other people have handled them.
It is.
And the fruit is being born like right now. You know, so you can't tell me just wait. There's this pastor. Now this might be over spiritual, but there's this pastor we both know, and he said that one of the things he wanted to believe God for was like really good health throughout his whole life. And his dad was driving. His dad was like in his 80s, and he was like the pastor was in his 50s, and his dad was telling him, "Can you drive? My arthritis in my hands is acting up." And he's like, "Yeah, I could drive, Dad." So he was driving. And his dad was telling him, "Man, I should stop and get some medication." And the pastor was like, "Well, I told my dad, you should maybe take a more holistic approach than taking all this medication." And the dad was like, "Son, just wait till you're my age. It runs in the family. You're going to have arthritis too." And the pastor was like, "No, I'm not. I'm not going to have arthritis. I've been believing God for good health my whole life, and I just don't want to agree with that." And he was like, "Oh, you gonna have it whether you like it or not. I don't care what you believe in." And the pastor was like, "I just can't agree with you."
No.
And he was like, his dad got pissed. He was like, "Who do you think you are? This been running in our family for 100 years. Your granddaddy had arthritis, your grandma had arthritis." You know, but there's some things that when people tell you just wait till you deal with it, you can disagree.
Yeah, you can. You don't have to be just like your family.
And guess what? Even if you do go through similar situations, like we said, that doesn't mean you have to deal with the situation the same way they are.
Yeah.
I don't know how we got on this topic,
No,
but I
that's
think it's
so
good to talk
Yeah,
about.
that's so good.
I think it's good to talk about,
Mhm.
you know? Yeah.
Yeah.
So
that's
good.
That's
No,
good.
that's good.
Well, I'm not gonna give a sharp tip this episode because you go back to the chapter of red flags, and that is our sharp tip. If your friends have these qualities, these traits, whatever you want to call them, these red flags, man, try to address it, bring it up to them as humbly
Right.
and gently as you can,
Right.
because it's only gonna help them and help the friendship.
Yeah, I agree. Well, if I had a sharp tip, it probably has nothing to do with the video, but I've seen it. It was a quote on Instagram that said, Christians are not exempt from sinning. They're only exempt from enjoying sin.
Wow.
And I thought that was so profound.
Yeah, that
because people think that Christians don't have grace to sin, or they're not like they are incapable of sinning, but that is not true. What God is looking for in our hearts is for us to not. Something has changed so drastically that we don't enjoy it anymore.
Yeah.
So we do it, we commit it, and we all of a sudden we realize, oh, I just don't feel right.
That's so good.
You know, so I just want myself to be aware.
Yeah.
I've been praying over myself. I've been, and we want to pray over you guys.
Yeah.
That we all get to a point where sin, cussing, treating people badly, being bitter, being angry, choosing the wrong people, low self-esteem, sexual immorality, whatever the case may be, that you get to a point where you don't enjoy it as much as you used to.
That's true.
So that would be my sharp tip for today, and
that's awesome.
we finna bounce.
We are. Please like, comment, subscribe. We'll see you next
Like,
episode.
comment, and subscribe.
Yes. Take care.
Deuces.
Adios.